So suppose someone has come to Google and searched on flowers, and hit that search button, and their search request for flowers goes over the internet. Google server responds with a set of search results for flowers, and writes a log line that looks rather like this. So there's going to be the IP address of that machine that connected to the Google server, the date and the time of the search, the URL including the search query, the browser type and operating system as recorded by the user's browser, and the cookie. And let's go ahead so we can talk a little bit about the cookie. So here we have the Google Preferences cookie. So just to completely set the stage, a cookie is a small text file that is stored by the browser on the user's local machine on behalf of the server. And cookies were originally invented as a way for e-commerce sites to persist shopping carts, basically, for people. They were originally thought up as a way so that when you were shopping on an e-commerce site and you put some things in your shopping cart would be stored in that cookie. And so while you continued to move around to the e-commerce site and shop, the things that you had already selected for purchase would be remembered in the cookie, and then when you checked out, it would all be there. So if you were to going back in Google's history, this particular cookie, the Pref cookie, is called that because from the very beginning, it was the cookie that stored the persistent preferences for searching on Google. So way back when there were no Google accounts yet, there was no Gmail yet, all there was search. If you went to that basic white website and you clicked the little preferences link next to the search box, and it would let you set preferences like my preferred language is English and I like 15 search results per page and I want moderate safe search. The cookie is what would store those encoded preferences so that they would still be there the next time that you visited Google. So if you were to go into the file system on your machine in your browser and open the Google Preferences cookie, this little text file, it would basically look like this. You have the name of the cookie is Pref for preferences. Content there, you have a randomly assigned composite ID number that's loosely presumed to be unique. I say loosely presumed because these are not secured cookies, and they do get copied and stolen and cloned, but it's unique enough for Google's purposes, which I will talk about in some more detail on the slides that follow. Then we've got a couple of the encoded preferences. For example, LD equals EN is language display equals English. Some numbers indicating the time when the cookie was created and when it was last modified by a Google server. The domain is google.com. That's what tells the browser that this is a cookie for Google servers and only google.com servers should be allowed to see this cookie or modify it. Send for any type of connection says that, on the other hand, this is not a secured cookie. It can be sent without encryption. And the expiration date. And we note in passing that Google's anonymization policy for these kinds of server logs is 9 months for IP addresses and 18 months for the cookie. And that's something we can return to and discuss some more if you would like. All right, this log data, what do we use it for? Having spent several years working on getting better at explaining this particular variety of rocket science to regular people, we finally settled on this framework, which is has a little bit of a kid's story feel to it, but I think really cuts to the heart of the matter, which is to say that Google's fundamental use of this data is for learning from the good guys. And by learning from the good guys, what I mean is having our systems, our technology, be built to be able to improve by learning from all of the interactions that it's constantly having with real human beings who are using our services in good faith. And by using our services in good faith, I mean the person who comes and types in a search query and hits that search button because they really want to see the most useful set of search results that Google systems can provide to them. And they'll click on the search result that they think looks the most useful. The other side of that coin is the need to fight off the bad guys. And similarly, in this scenario, the bad guys is all the people or the botnets or the scripts that come and interact with Google services, not because they want to see that best set of search results that we can provide to them, but instead because they want to somehow manipulate the functioning of our systems in a way that will be to their benefit at the expense of everyone else. And so for us with this data, there's a constant on both sides use of doing this sort of, I'll go so far as to say, crowdsourced artificial intelligence, using the signal that comes in constantly from all of those real people using this system in good faith to make the system smarter for the next set of people that comes along, while at the same time using that same information to fend off the bad guys, to make sure that the denial of service attack gets throttled and blocked, that the click fraud gets put in the bad click bin, that the attempts to game the system and influence our search algorithm in malicious ways gets filtered out and isn't allowed to affect the functioning of the search algorithm, all of those things. And then we also include this third category of inventing the future, because we like to give a few examples that demonstrate what a lot of Google's enthusiasm, admitted enthusiasm for data is about, why we think that abundant amounts of data and abundant amounts of computing power have great possibility for humankind to do some wonderful things. And so we have a couple of examples of those to illustrate what sort of thing it is that we're thinking about and talking about. But let me now go into some more detail about how this learning from the good guys works. First of all, I want to go back to the beginning and talk briefly about PageRank and learning from the good guys. Because when I talk to people about Google and ask even quite knowledgeable people how they think the science of making search results good works, many people know about PageRank. But it's often been my experience that even fairly informed people still kind of think of PageRank as the way it works, when in fact, PageRank is really best thought of as like the opening move in a chess game between Google and the bad guys on behalf of the good guys. And I'm going to sort of explain how that worked. So I want to point out, first of all, PageRank, when Larry and Sergey first thought of it at Stanford, is this insight about being able to look at the very link structure of the web and the way it was constructed by actual human beings acting in good faith as providing a signal that they could find a really good way to harvest about what actual human beings thought were good web pages in the context of particular anchor text or keywords. So from the very beginning, the fundamental idea of PageRank was a learning from the good guy strategy. This has always been about not an inherent intelligence of the search algorithm, but about writing the search algorithm in a way that such that it harvests the available human intelligence, brings that back and reprocesses it to provide a powerful information tool for everyone.